Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much. We still have a minute before we have to be live in today's Oxfordian Outlook, and we are really excited to have those of you who are joining us on the Zoom and those of you who are joining us live as well. Just bear with us while we do our little sound checks to see that everything is rolling and everything seems good to go. Whilst we are waiting for everybody to come, and strongly request everyone to please keep yourselves muted till we are talking, and you can then use the chat function to make your introductions as we go and proceed with today's particular webinar. So it's 4 o'clock on the go, and I have the go ahead that all the sounds working fine. So welcome everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from across the globe. My name is Noor, and I am looking after internationalization at Oxfordian College, which is based in the UK. And a lot of you have been in touch with us talking about what teaching practices are being followed internationally for educators across the globe. So today's session, how we have planned it for you, is going to be one which is filled with people who will be joining us across the globe, and we will be taking questions and answering questions around what are the different opportunities for educators. So let me first start off by introducing my fellow speaker, Amber, who has joined me today in today's particular session. And Amber, hi, how are you? We can do a little bit of a intro first to see if the sound is coming all right, and then we can go on from there.
Hi, Noor, and hello to everyone. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope my sound is clear, Noor.
Oh, loud and clear. Everything's good.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Can I just,
So
you seem to be loud and clear on the Zoom, but I can't hear on the social media. So we just need to do just a quick check on LinkedIn and Facebook. Otherwise, it'll be, now it's coming through. Let me just check.
All right, wonderful. Yes. So, Shazia, do message me if everything's well, and we'll take it from there. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Amber, for joining in. We are going to keep this a two-way session, and for that, you guys also need to be interactive and just look at how we can look at things that are actually going to be around your different possibilities in the education sector. If you're anybody who's looking for an international opportunity, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of myth busting as well. Today's session is going to be all about that as well. If you're looking for upskilling and looking for capacity building opportunities, we're going to talk about that. So feel free, use the chat button. Thank you so much, Mirza Saeed Ahmed. Welcome for joining us. Thank you for joining us as well, and all others. The more intros you would do in the chat, the more we'll keep it two-way. So a little bit about Oxfordian College that I would like to take you guys through as to what the college is and what is it that we are going to be working for and looking at. So essentially, we are looking at today's topic of discussion that me and Amber are going to take you through is that why focus on teacher training. So two key important areas which we're going to talk about today is going to be about the postgraduate certificate in education and the diploma in teaching, two highly accredited qualifications. A lot of you would have known about them. You would have heard your fellows, talk about it. You would have had, people tell you that they have achieved particular certifications in the teacher training qualification. So we're going to do a lot of myth busting. And what I'll do here is that I'll tell you what my personal experience has been also being from the education sector and being in the UK for the last year and a half. What have my learnings been like, and what does the learning curve look like for me as an educator? But let's do a little poll, Amber, around the room, and feel free to jump in. So a lot of you, I think pretty much everyone in the room, or maybe you would have, or maybe you would not have, but if you could go in the room and tell us that whether you have heard about the PGCE the PG Cert, as it is commonly known. So how many of you know about it? You can do thumbs up, you can say yes, you can say no. Let's see if we get any reactions, Amber. And then I'll let you comment on what have you heard about the PGC, Amber? Go.
What I have heard. So there are PG Cert, PGCE, and there are different awarding bodies, those who are offering PG Cert, PGCE, and people doesn't know the difference between the PG Cert and PGCE, and everybody, it's I, I would say
Amber, your voice is breaking up. Your voice is
everybody
breaking
wants
up.
to do it currently in Pakistan, and nobody knows that it is allowed. So it comes up to my laptop.
So while Amber connects to a different internet, Amber, you have to reconnect on an internet that's working.
Okay.
Let's see if it works. Till then, exactly, I'll tell you about what are the different tiers of qualifications in PG Cert or PGCE. In actual sense, if you are looking at the academic level, then that has to be a postgraduate level 7 UK-based qualification. What is an alternative routes to teaching, which at Oxfordian, we talk really a lot about. If you were to go to our YouTube channel, you're going to look at Shazia, who is a qualified teacher, talk about, what are some alternative routes to getting a qualified teacher status if you're looking for a job opportunity in UK, or if you're looking at upskilling your level, if you are in the transnational education space, and if you're looking at upskilling your education level, then does an MA education make sense? Does a PGCE make sense, which is a level 7? Or is there an alternative route to teaching, which essentially what we're going to talk about is the diploma in teaching? So if you're looking at the different aspects on the vertical, you look at the academic level, which is a level 7, and the diploma in teaching is usually a level 5 or a 6. The credits are typically, it's a 60 master's level credits, which means that this particular course is it's a little bit more pricier and takes a little bit more time as well if you would look at the duration. The beauty of the diploma in teaching is that it is acceptable for anyone. So if you look at, who could perhaps come into the entry requirements, we do have, if you have a relevant experience, if you're coming from a non-teaching background, if you have a placement in place at a school or a college or a higher education setup, then you can essentially, look through pursuing this particular qualification. But is the internet better? I think it is better. Let's do another
Yes, I
sound
think
check.
I think you can hear me now.
Wonderful. Yes, I can. Just talking about this particular aspect when we're talking about the theoretical versus the practical focus, and I know you coming from an academic background as well, how important it is for people to understand, the pedagogy and how a classroom teaching actually takes place.
So the classroom teaching, what we prefer in our setups is a bit different. Then you see that there is a proper way of doing it. There are lesson plans, and we are more inclined towards curriculum and how to finish the syllabus. And mostly people are concerned towards that. But mostly now the teachers are more concerned about the pedagogies and how they can make their a lesson plan more towards active learning and more towards the PBL method. So they are there. These methods are there. These things are there in practice. But of course, there is a need to work on that. These skills of our teachers, and they're familiar with active learning. They're familiar with PBL. But how to incorporate AI into our lessons and how to incorporate a futuristic approach to our lessons. This is what we are looking for, and we want our teachers to understand. That is where our training modules should focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the basic key aspect is that A lot of times you would have experienced, all of you who are from the education field, would have experienced that, you would get the best teacher, which is academically super highly qualified, but when you put them into a classroom, they might not come across as, just very interactive teachers, or they might not know how to interact with the student or get onto their level. In the UK, there's a lot of stress of students coming in from special education needs. How are we practicing the elements of, equality, diversity, inclusion as part of the curriculum? Are our assessment methods
Yes.
pretty, I would say, inclusive? Are we looking at alternative assessment methods as well? Are we making a combination of, let's say, assignments, and then there's a practical element of it and an observation? So the DIT, the Diploma in Teaching, essentially, it equips as a skill set as well. So you could be a great
Okay.
teacher of a particular subject, but that practical aspects, Amber, you would have seen that a lot of teachers, you've been into hiring as well. And you know for a fact that a lot of
Yes.
teachers come in and you tell them, okay, how is your classroom interaction? How important do you think a classroom interaction is for a teacher to look at alternative assessment methods?
Okay. So what I believe is that this is the most important thing. And when you categorize the student in different age groups, like if I talk about age group from 3 to 6 years, of course the interaction with the child should be totally different. And then you have to understand the psychology of the child, that he has a absorbent mind at this time. So what is he absorbing and how are you communicating with the child? Then comes to the primary levels and to the secondary levels. Again, you have to understand that what are the child is going through. It's not only about when you're going to the classroom and just you start your lesson. Once I was when I started teaching, there were some trainers, those who used to tell me that when you enter the room, you should look like a subject you are teaching. So it is not only about interacting with the words only. It is about uh, how you are ready for the lesson and how you student to be there to understand that what we are going to do further. So my my belief, you can say, and then my experience says that when you hire a teacher, when you give teacher a classroom, the teacher does not only have to see the curriculum, she has to see the culture of the class, the environment in which the child is. So when we see that the environment matters, environment doesn't only mean that the tables and the chairs which are there in the classroom. It is about that how healthy the environment is, how active learning is going through, how are you utilizing different, you can say, multilingual students or mixed ability groups, how you are interacting with them and how you are engaging them in active learning, in project works, or what is PBL? PBL thing that you make the children sit together and then you find out the skill in every child has few skills, so you have to work on their skills alongside with your curriculum. So what I believe is that a teacher should not only be aware of the subject. You cannot become a good teacher just by having a master's degree in any subject. The thing is, which makes you a teacher is the skill, is the mindset which you have for a student. You have to understand that you are just not a teacher. You are there to facilitate the child. You are there to guide the child. You don't have to dictate the child. You have to listen to the child. The thing which is missing in our teachers is that they're not ready to listen to the child. So first you have to listen to the child. Maybe he or she has more knowledge than me or the teacher, but this is where I think our teachers need to understand that our curriculums, our pedagogies should that effective that the interaction should through words, it should be through the environment as well.
Yeah, wonderful. And rightly said, Amber, that all of that understanding, the outside of the classroom understanding, and I really like the conversation that's taking place in the chat as well. I took a quick look at it, but please keep carrying on the discussion
Okay.
here as well. And I see some familiar names as well. So good to see you guys here as well. The biggest question that's in the chat box is that how does it lead to better future opportunities? Now, here is where I'll do a little bit of a classroom session, right? So I came, in the UK, I came and I was really, really super confident that, okay, I'm coming in for 20 years of educational and training background, and it's going to be super easy for me to, let's say, start teaching like tomorrow, right? And the first hurdle, that the first question I'd say, or the first developmental activity that I faced was, do you have a teaching qualification? And I was like, interesting. So, you actually need to have a teaching qualification. If you are looking at pursuing a career, let's say in the UK, which has a huge demand of qualified teachers, either at the primary level, the secondary level, the higher education level, or the further education, which we call the vocational sector, is pretty, I would say, elaborate here, which means that there are a lot of opportunities. Now, what that does is that if you don't have a teaching qualification, you do not get what is required, which is the qualified teacher status, which essentially is a route in which you are finding, like, school placements. If you want to work for a higher education provider, let's say at a fixed time basis, you want to be a subject specialist in that particular area, that is where the whole essential, the pathway comes to. So if you're looking at both the PGCE and the diploma in teaching, both of them essentially lead to a qualified teacher status or a qualified teaching and learner status, QTLS and QTS. So both these terminologies essentially are very something which you get asked about a lot. What we're talking about essentially, and I'll quickly run through because I want to ask Amber another question. The recognition, you can see the qualifications essentially varies, but if you're somebody coming in from the early years background, for instance, and you've been teaching in the early years, and you have been qualified as an early years practitioner, would you still need a teaching diploma if you want to go in and teach at the state level? Yes, the answer is yes, and you can actually do that. So that's another thing. Career opportunities is what we are here to talk about. That when we're talking about teaching qualifications, those of you who are coming in from the transnational background, and we'll talk about that now, which is where my next question is coming to you, is that Pakistan has a really vibrant TNE structure. We have seen a lot of foreign universities come into the country, and the same goes for India, the same goes for Bangladesh, the same goes for Middle East. A lot of universities have migrated from the US, from the UK into, South Asian countries where there's a large bulk of students that they can attract. That particular model, as we know, is really cost effective. But how important is for these universities to have teachers that have a teacher training qualification? Is that a mandatory requirement? Because you have looked after the HR side, finding out the right teachers for those particular qualifications. So what has your experience been in terms of hiring these people? How high is their chances of landing a job if they're coming in with a teacher training qualification?
Okay, thank you for this question, because what my experience is, and what I have observed, that the teachers, those who are coming in these TNE schools, the TNE colleges, they are not trained. They just have the qualifications. They might have a qualification in law, might have a qualification in business, but they don't know how to manage the classrooms, and they are not equipped with the right techniques to make their teaching more effective. So this is the missing link. When I was hiring teachers for different qualifications, what they bring with them was the experience only, not any required certification. As I understand that when you have to teach a specific class, or I've worked in TNE tier 1 as well and tier 2 as well. In both tier 1, observe is that the teacher, those who are teaching them, They just have the qualifications with them. They are not equipped with the right trainings. Yes, there are opportunities for them to equip themselves with proper training so that they should know that how to transmit that knowledge to the student. Having a knowledge is not enough for such a good qualification. It is very easy to say that these colleges or universities are here in Pakistan and they are offering their qualifications, but the qualifications are there. But are we providing them the right teaching techniques, or they are getting the right lessons, and are the students are aware of the international standards of the teaching? So for that, yes, of course, there is a need for teachers to understand that they need to develop themselves. They need to train themselves for the areas where they learn active learning, they learn AI, how to incorporate AI. Even when you talk about TNEs, and there are a lot of these universities, those who work on uh, assignment based. So how to manage those assignments? So there are different areas on which our work. Our teachers need to understand that they need to develop their teaching basically their own teaching style.
Absolutely. There's a question here as well, Fariha, and I'll let Shazia answer that in the chat while we carry on this particular discussion about TNE opportunities, and where are these actually teaching qualifications? How are they helping people, whether they're in their home countries or whether they're looking for work abroad? The best and the beauty of any international qualification that you're doing. And we're talking about the level 5 right now, which is the diploma in teaching. But then there's a level 3, which is an award in education and training as well. What that essentially does is that it builds the foundation for you to actually go on to a level 5 if you're just starting off a teaching career, or if you're unsure about. I know for a fact that a lot of people, are a little bit scared of returning back to studying because they've been on the other
Yes.
side, they've been on the flip side, they've been teaching, and now they're looking at ways in which they could perhaps go back to the drawing board and to start studying again, start researching again, start submitting their assessments again. So for them, the best qualification is then the level 3, which is the award in education and training, which is essentially for like you could get done with it in the 3 months time. And it has the flavor of all these portfolio mixes that we were talking about. You were talking about that, a lot of practical on ground work that
I have
people
a
have to
question.
do. Yeah.
I have a question on this. So when we talk about level 3 qualification, so
Yes.
the teachers, those who are already teaching, they are in the classrooms. So is it relevant for these teachers as well? Because sometimes they are having their training sessions in their schools and they have their insets and all that.
Yeah.
But is the level 3 cater better than that, or it is similar to that?
What in my experience, what my experience has been, that it's a really different ballgame when we're talking about looking at something in Pakistan and then looking at something at an international level. So a lot of the things change where we are looking at alternative assessment tools, like just pick up assessments, right? Um, I know if Noor's coming here from Noor Khwaja's coming here from an art background, then she is assessing and evaluating her children based on how great their portfolios are, what are they writing in their assignments, how are they making a pitch deck on their assignment, how are they presenting their particular what I could say final year projects. But what about the student that's coming from a business background or a law background, right? Or a social sciences background, or somebody who's coming in from a history background? Now, that is where the international qualifications are designed in a way in which they would automatically push you to think outside the box. When your assessment assignment comes, just talking about, let's say, an assessor qualification, it's going to ask you about, okay, Amber, how many kinds of assessments can you tell me? Go ahead, give me one.
Summative,
Summative,
formative.
right? Formative, there you go, right? So that would be let's say assignment, let's say quizzes. But then you'd start thinking about,
Yes.
okay, am I observing them when they're doing a team session? If I've split kids up, right, into groups of 5 and they're doing some group work, is somebody coming in and doing their lesson observation, right? Are they looking
Okay.
at how the kids, so a different assessment method could be that, you are experiencing people to actually look at a third assessment method, which is observation. A fourth could be that, you're
Okay.
giving them a project. A fifth could be that there's a presentation and you're allocating different marks on that. So how inclusive the curriculum is of an international qualification, I cannot stress enough. That it really gives you that wow moment. When I did my level 5, which was the diploma in education and training, and Shazia put me through it, and she said, you have to do this, right? If you have to be in the education sector. So I said, okay, it's going to be just like another course that you are going to do. And as I went through, I didn't know what a scheme of work was, right? How many people here would know a scheme of work, right? Essentially, it turned out that that was my whole
Most,
entire
yeah.
curriculum plan. Yeah.
So most teachers, those who are in K-12 teaching, they do understand what is scheme of work,
Scheme
and
of
those who have
work.
done these,
Yeah.
those who have done the short courses, they might be knowing that. But if you talk about in general, people don't know what is a scheme of work, what is
Precisely.
uh, how do you make the lesson plan more effective, and what are the what is feedback, and what is the methodologies that how can you twist your lesson plan and make it more effective through presentations or group work. So what is PBL? People doesn't even know what is PBL, which is very common and we all are using it, but sometimes people doesn't know. So yes, you are right. When you are not familiar with these terminologies, you are not familiar with these things, you might be doing all these things, but you don't know the sequence and the process, that how you have to do this and how you can
Precisely.
utilize those skills in your classrooms.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And Ishwa is asking, I think, you're asking about how do we disruptive teacher students in a classroom, and how about kids who are shy, kids who have special needs. A lot of awareness, that, to be honest, I'll be really frank, and I was discussing this with you, Amber, the other day, that when we're talking about special education needs, when we are talking about kids who are on the autistic spectrum, or kids who have dyslexia, it's not really documented, or maybe it's not understood by the parents also, but we do see a lot of awareness now. um, all of these qualifications that we're talking about, invariably all of the teaching qualifications that you and I and Shazia and we have been exploring, what other teaching qualifications can we bring in? They are very accommodative of variable assessment methods, which include all of this, Ishwa. So to answer your question, the rule as to how you're going to tackle these disruptive kids or these shy kids is essentially to understand also first that what is the underlying problem, right? So what we essentially call is that with students, you have to do, irrespective of what their age bracket is, you have to do what we call the RPL, which is the recognition of prior learning. Have you
Mm,
assessed the child, right?
mm,
Whether they're at that particular level. A one size, exactly, Shazia, a
mm,
one size fits all approach, it's not going to be the same. And that's essentially an opportunity for those of you who are perhaps in the management side and you are running your own
mm.
schools and colleges here, or you could perhaps be looking at this particular webinar later. That's an opportunity for all of you to also look at diversifying. That is our institution and is our school or is our place accommodative of kids who have these special education needs? There has to be a first off starter where kids need more, hand holding. Amber, what are your thoughts on it? I know you work with different schools across Pakistan, and you would have seen such schools chains who have these discussions, but they don't really know where to start off from.
Yes, you're so right. Like when I was doing my trainings and when we talk about Sen education, so we do know the name of dyslexia, we do know ADHD, we do know autism, we only know the names of these learning disabilities, but how to cater these we are not familiar with. And we in schools, what the in different schools, I've worked in different schools, and what the criteria is that you just have to leave that child at his or her own. So you have to be very, very particular. Like when you talk about dyslexia, again, there is a dyscalculia as well, dysgraphia as well. So they are linked with different areas of learning disability. Then how you can address that? Maybe there is some disability in their auditory sense, or maybe their visuals. So how to identify that? We have to train our teachers to at least identify those areas and then work on those children. How can you work on those children if you are not equipped with the right techniques?
Precisely.
Even if I am available, I'm able to identify, okay, this child has a mirror images and can be a dyslexic child. But what to do next? Or can I say a child just after one or two classes that he's dyslexic? No. So there are proper ways of doing it. So what I observe in different school systems, that we are not aware of how to diagnose this. And if we are not aware of how to diagnose it, then how can we go to the next step? We will just keep focusing on the child, keep writing, repeat, repeat, repeat. He will just repeat, but he will not understand, and the teacher will get more frustrated because she's not there what is required. The need of the child is not the repetition. The need of the child is to understand what he is going through. So for that, we need our teachers to be equipped with the right knowledge, right techniques, right, and that can only come through these trainings, a proper experience, expert trainings. So this is what my observation on these
Absolutely.
10 areas.
And I think the most important thing right now, let's recalibrate a little bit and look at where are people, educators finding these job opportunities. So I saw a comment that, as our school system or our school chain is providing staff training. That's brilliant. Where is your own self-learning also coming up? If you are somebody who's looking at, let's say, looking at career opportunities and job opportunities abroad, where do you start? Right? Yes, you do networking, but the best thing is here. We're here and we're doing the webinar just to like network and connect with all of you to find out these job opportunities. And trust me, the kind we can speak about UK job recruitment. Essentially, there are these three particular big areas where you could come in. There are lots and lots of private colleges that are looking for qualified subject specialist teachers, teachers who understand how international qualifications are being taught. What are the different assessment criteria and methodologies? Lots of teaching agencies which can do these finding out of these job opportunities for you, and then a lot of headhunters and freelancers who are mandated, and they're sitting on a lot of job opportunities that you can then reach out to them and ask them that, this is what the profile looks like. But one other thing that, I saw that was missing before I cover this was, what does my own CPD look like? Right? That's exactly why I'm saying that please do share your emails with me or send me a hi so that we can issue you a CPD certificate, because it's invariably wherever we'll apply, whichever awarding body we are going to reach out to, whichever college we are going to reach out to, everybody is going to ask you for your previous 3 years of CPD. What does your CPD log look like? Because the European market is really, really high on, what can be, what is your own self-learning like? So that is why it's really important. Now, I'm coming back to you, and just from your HR hat on in the education sector. You would have, I'm sure, interacted with lots of teachers that are coming in, and you would have asked them in an interview that, what was the last session that you attended, right? So what is the general overall response, and where did you see that there was some room for improvement that you can share with everyone so that, everybody could start working on their CPD?
So whenever I used to ask them, they do have the qualifications, they do have the experience, but whenever I ask them that, do you have a qualification for teaching, or you have a certification in teaching, mostly the answer was no, or they just had insects which they had in their schools. So, but everybody, those who are serious teachers, they were ready to invest in their CPD. They wanted to they wanted to have capacity building. So, and this is my observation that it's all about the opportunity they will get. Of course, in Pakistan, it is difficult to spare so much money for their capacity building, because they, of course, they have to see their salary packages. But now, when you see that the teachers are serious and they are in teaching, and when I'm talking about those private schools where they get good salaries, and they have good experience with them as well. Still, they don't have the right trainings with them, so they do want to do that. But mostly, if I give you a comparison, if I take an interview of teachers who have the right certification which was required for teaching a specific area, maybe early years, maybe primary levels, or even O levels.
Yeah, I lost you there in the middle, but I get the gist of what you were saying, Amber, that a lot of people would either say that, okay, I have a B.Ed qualification, so that should be enough. That's fine. I mean, it works, I think, perfectly well if you are somebody who's teaching in, let's say, a primary level at a government level, where that is an actual requirement. But I'm going to blend Umar's question here as well. And that's a great one, by the way, because I get this question a lot. Anytime I'm speaking to anyone that, Noor, I'm done with my bachelor's, I'm done with my master's, the next step is PhD, and then I can start teaching. Here's a fun scenario, Umar, and I'm going to give you a really personal example. So my daughter goes to primary school, and she has a teacher who is her main subject class teacher, as we call it. And the class teacher is a 27-year-old who did her GCSEs and has been teaching for the last 5-6 years. And she's the class teacher, which essentially means that she's teaching everything. Now, I'm giving you a primary school example, and then a secondary, and then I'll give you for the other. Now, it's something which is unfathomable for us to imagine that, somebody who's done their O levels is, teaching in a school and at a comfortable scale, at a pay scale, which is around, Shazi, correct me if I'm wrong, but 48K to 52K is generally roughly per annum GBP is what the per annum income is. That teacher comes to school for 4.5 days. So she takes an early day off on a Thursday. What has she done to land that job? So the answer was what we had discussed. She went via the QTS route, right? The qualified teacher route. So she said that after my GCSEs, I want to be a teacher. I'm laser focused that this is where I want to land. And that is the route then she took to get a subject specialism. Now that subject specialism could be in English, or it could be in history, or it could be in religious education, any subject area that she would have chosen to land that particular job, because it's a regulated requirement. Now, if you're talking about the higher education sector, so if you're talking about us, for example, at Oxfordian, what do we look for in teachers who are going to teach with us? First thing, the teacher's qualification. Do they have a teaching qualification? Do they have a diploma in education and training? Do they have a diploma in teaching? Do they have a PGCE? Do they have an award in education and training? If somebody is coming with an award in education and training at a level 3, you will see these qualifications here displayed on the Zoom as well. But these are essentially a mix of qualifications that the college is looking, and then their off-call regulated awarding body is looking. So there are two areas. Now you can also, Umar, ask that where can I diversify, right, Amber? And this is something that you and I also spoke about, and I'm going to pose this question to you. And we always hear about quality assurance. We always hear about, systems like Nosheen, I think, was mentioning that we have a system in place with our college that, with our school system where, our quality assurance measures are set in place. So let us talk a little bit about that in the T&E space as well, where you would have seen that Pearson's, for instance, has a requirement that you have to do an internal verification and an external verification, or in other words, the internal quality assurance or the external quality assurance. So I want you to understand that, is it a practice that's across the different school chains, or is it across the boutique schools also that you deal with, or is it there's still some room for improvement on those fronts?
There is a lot of room for improvement in this front. There are few schools and colleges, those who have very good quality assurance, and they have very good internal quality assurance parameters. But if you talk about training and development for K-12 schools, no, there is no such system, such quality assurance where you can see there is no external verification. There is only internal verification. And those who are teaching or training, they are the ones who are rewarding them, and they are the ones who are checking the quality assurance as well. So it is missing in K-12 schools. Yes, in TNEs there is a category of internal verification and external verification, but to some extent better than K-12 schools.
Yeah. And hence, that is something again, which is a mix here, for all of you who are on the webinar today and those who are listening to this as well. Thank you, Saitha. We'll speak about the IB as well. Just looking at those of you who are coming in from a management perspective, I always believe that as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's running their own social enterprise. I call school chains a social enterprise because you are actually contributing towards, developing the next future gen leaders. What is it that you can do that gets that extra stardust on your particular brand, on your particular business? I just went through a fantastic post from another educator, Carmen from Lahore. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, who says that, he's applied to the Best Schools of the World award, and 3 schools from Pakistan have been selected to be on that particular
Selected,
competition.
yes.
You've seen that, right?
Yes, yes, I
If
did.
you dig down deep, if you're looking at your business model, then there are these extra sprinkles that they would have embedded into their processes to land where they have landed. And with more of, I would say that, more millennials now who are becoming parents, they are more aware of where are they sending their kids. I work with a lot of moms who are homeschooling their children. And they would still want us to understand that, what is it that they can do differently, and which qualification would they pick differently, and where can their child start pursuing their career as we speak. So, Amar, my other question to you is on a very, very business-oriented side, that as a management, if you were the principal of a school and you're the owner of a school, and if you have to invest into, 3 areas, what would those 3 areas be?
Sorry, I
Yeah,
lost your
so
voice.
if you were to invest as a business owner of a school who's running their own school, which 3 areas would you invest in?
I will invest in the teacher training, the environment in which the children are going, and the outdoor facilities which I'm going to provide to the students. So there are 3 main areas. The teachers, my focus would be on teachers, because they are the ones who are the custodian of that specific school. They are the ones those who are going to run the show. And then I would work on the environment. The environment means the language which they are going to would be there, that the active learning can took place over there. So this is one thing that I'm going to work on. I am not talking about expensive environment. I'm talking about student-friendly environment. And then the third thing is sports. I prefer that there should be physical activities and should be done through properly trained sports teachers. These are three things I'm going to work on.
Wonderful, wonderful. And let's also use the chat. So all of you who are on the call, just think that, okay, in the future, if I want to, run my own school or institution, what areas would I focus on? So feel free to use the chat box. Said Saab's question around IB, right? Or systems or education
Okay.
systems. We'll have to do another webinar on that perhaps, but where I wanted to
Yes.
comment on this was that what we are talking about is a very universal, fits for purpose or fits all approaches. Like I started off by saying that, if you look at assessment awards or diplomas, as we would like to call them, it's the same across various different levels, right? If you're talking about teaching qualifications, they're pretty much adaptive. Quality assurance practices, pretty much adaptive. And then, we've spoken about teaching assistant qualifications. Think of it from an early years hat, right? Every early years directress or teacher or somebody who's teaching a nursery school or a college has an assistant. But does that assistant always know Amber? You've dealt with a lot of K-12. Does that assistant always know what she or he has to do?
No, they don't even know their JD, that why are there TAs? They don't even
Precisely.
understand that they are there to help the students, not the teacher. So this is the difference, that when you provide a TA to a teacher, that become an assistant to the teacher, not for the students, because that specific area for a TA is to help those students, those who are maybe hyperactive, or those maybe above the class level, or those who need attention. So those TAs need proper training, that what is their role. So that is missing. And when you talk about early years, so when you in early years, the TA has a very important role. As we were talking about dyslexia, as we're talking about ADHD. So these TAs are the ones, those who are going to help these students. But if they are not familiar with these areas, or these learning disabilities, how would they going to help the teacher or the student? They will be just there to collect the notebooks, and just check the notebooks. This is what they're going to do, and they won't be learning anything, and they won't be effective for the class where they're sitting.
Precisely, precisely. So here are the different, I would say, the different qualifications. These are just a few. These are just a few cherry-picked ones that I thought were the relevant ones that we could share with you guys over here in today's session. Let's talk about, because we did speak about the diploma in teaching earlier as well. As to how is it that is something different, what are the different requirements? So if you look at the teaching methodology, or if you look at the portfolio of what we called evidences that we have to, or you will have to, as a learner, put in here. So it's pretty much, you'd see that, a couple of things are the same, that your CV, your presentations, etc., your assignments, your reflection log. But then again, I think the biggest missing link again is how are you acting in different case studies? Like how is your role changing from one case to the other? And what does your CPD log look like? And also, I think a couple of things that I've tried to mention here is that why is the practical experience important? That if you are somebody who's existingly in a school or in a college setting or in a university setting for that matter, you are doing the teaching, but are you being reviewed by someone? You would have, those of you who are in the teeny space, I'm pretty sure that you would have experienced, observations taking place. But what if all of the other, like, if you're in the K-12 or if you are in the college level, Are these formal observations taking place? Is there a concept of getting a mentor for yourself? Somebody that you can learn on the job from. What I have also experienced is a number. This is again, I'll bring this question to you as well. The beauty of a teacher training qualification is that it also makes you think outside of your subject specialism, right? I studied business, right? I studied business, and when I was doing my teacher training qualification, I was putting my business studies hat on. And I said, this is something that, it should come naturally to me. But a part of my job is also to review healthcare courses. Now, I'm not anywhere a healthcare facilitator or a practitioner, right? So have you also experienced this in your particular career, that the teaching qualification actually enables you to mold yourself also towards different subject areas?
Yes, very true, Noor. I did my qualification in 2012. I was heading a Montessori school at that time. And that qualification which I did was for primary levels. But I utilized that for my as a leader, as a head of a school. I was utilizing all those techniques which I learned, that even how to develop a lesson plan. If I don't know the subject, I have to go through the lesson plans of each and every subject. If I talk about sciences, if I'm a science teacher, it's okay for me. But as a school head, I might not be knowing all the subject. Maybe I know English, but I don't know maths. But I know what is the lesson plan is. But I would know that what are the LOs and how to achieve those LOs, and what is the feedback, what is the evaluation. So I know how to teach. I don't. I might not have the knowledge of the subject, but I have the knowledge that how to see a lesson, not about the knowledge about that particular subject, but as a teacher, what is the requirement? If the teacher has a methodology, so I can see that the methodology is relevant for any subject, maybe maths, maybe science, maybe English, maybe any other language. But the methodologies, are they using all those methodologies which we have learned in our trainings? Or are there is there active learning there? Are they using PBL? So all these teaching techniques doesn't require subject specialists. That require a teacher. So the teacher needs to understand what is teaching. I'll share an example. When I was heading a university level teacher, so those teachers even doesn't know what is class management. They
Yeah.
used to come and say that we don't know how to make these children sit. They are teaching level 6, they're teaching level 4, but they don't know how to make these children sit because they are not equipped with those techniques,
Yeah.
that how to engage the student in the classroom. So these are the things which I believe that for a school head or for those who are in leadership, they need to know what is teaching. So these teaching qualifications and these teaching teacher training is not for the teacher for any specific subject. It is for those who are educators, whether they are leading the institutions, whether they are coordinating with the academics, whether they are coordinating with the students, engagement, anything. They need to be equipped with right techniques.
Absolutely. Yes, I completely agree. And I just looked at the time and we have 8 minutes to go. This was like the fastest hour. I think that has gone by. But just also, I think one of the things that I did show you a glimpse of a certificate, which is something which is really, really important for us to understand, that when you're talking about
Yes,
anything
yes,
which is
sure.
Ofqual regulated, Ofqual is the UK accredited body. I know a lot of teachers, educators who say that, oh, we do have a qualification. And when we look at it, it's not off-call regulated. So please, 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 please do your due diligence and look at institutions and colleges that are providing actual accredited curriculum, which is going to give you that international leeway and international heads up. If you're planning about, just doing like freelancing, also sitting in Pakistan, or anywhere around the globe, and you want to actually teach it, a lot of the qualifications are taught online, right? And they are looking for teachers. So you could possibly also put that hat on and get paid in pounds or in euros or in dollars. It's just how smartly you're looking at your portfolio and offering that unique USP that we're talking about. Shazi has shared a lot of resources above in the chats if you were to look at it. A lot of resources where you could find jobs for international teachers. We have really amazing, something that I like to share, that we have few learners from Egypt that are joining our qualifications, and we ask them, okay, you're teaching French in Egypt, or you are the head teacher in Egypt. So how does this fit you, right? And they said a lot of American and British schools in Egypt are now making it a requirement. So if that's happening there, there is a huge opportunity for all of you who are on the call to look at ways in which you can uh, upskill yourself and find out and land these opportunities as well. Industry academia linkages, me and Amber thought that we're going to definitely talk about it, because this is from a real, by the way, a real conference. And I took this picture because I was stuck here at one of the conferences just a month ago. And I couldn't get in because of the sheer amount of people that had joined. 10,000 to be exact. So it took me like an hour just to like enter the particular hall and the venue. But what is it that is about industry academia linkages that I think that Amber, what you feel is where the work needs to be done, and where can people specifically in the K-12 education system, where can they find such opportunities for their children?
Okay, there's a lot of gap between academia and industry. If I talk about Pakistan, yes, being an HR consultant and HR person, I do know that what is the requirement of the multinational or other companies. What are they are looking for in students? And from academic background, I know that what we are training our students to, what are how good they are in their skill set. So there is a gap between that. Our students have the qualification, their skill set is missing because the teacher and the student, they are not familiar with the requirement of the industry. So industry require equipped students, those who have the right kind of skill for their specific area where they work. So there is a lot of gap in between, which can be only filled if our teachers are familiar with those areas that where they have to work with their students. I will talk about K-12 more than K-12 university students, those who have to go into the job market. So they think that when they will complete their degree, somebody is going to wait for them and they will say, oh, where were you? We were waiting for you. Let's join us. So it's not like that. So that is area where we need to work with our students. And what I believe that when the student is in the last year of the degree program, they should be equipped with those skills which are required for the industry. So this is how we can manage, and we can talk on it a lot more. We don't have much time, but we might have another webinar on it on which we can say that how the teachers can help these students to develop those skill sets.
Absolutely. And Amber, I'd like to add something to that. So at university, I still feel it's a bit too late. And please feel free to connect with me, and I'll tell you lots and lots of opportunities that I'm super, super passionate about, that I also run for any kid that is a teenager, essentially in their GCSEs, in their O levels, and 16 is the right time when they need to start off building that portfolio. And where is it going to come from?
Yes.
That kind of counseling, that kind of hand holding is going to come from all of us who are here. Just to get these children to get excited about where they can access such opportunities, such fellowships. How is a child spending their summer break, whether it's your own, whether it's part of the bigger ecosystem. I really saw something up that I thought that I'm gonna speak about in a bit, which is Sarah, I think you had mentioned, oops, something is happening, and I don't know what is happening with the slide deck. Sarah had mentioned that in Pakistan, unfortunately, we become teachers by chance, and I completely agree with you. And that's what we're trying to change. With you have seen, we have all been through so many opportunities that have actually gone on in terms of different career opportunities and different career options that have come, right? A lot of people who have been crazy enough, I would say, to leave their day jobs and to go into what you can say entrepreneurship or solo entrepreneurship. I've done that myself. And I have felt that brunt where, people said, okay, you're becoming a trainer or a teacher or a facilitator, you're crazy. So I completely hear you, but that's why we are here to create awareness around what is it you can achieve in terms of freelance opportunities, being your own boss, just looking at finding out these opportunities on your own. So that's exactly the bubble that we got to burst. And we can easily do that for, anybody who wants to actually take in those opportunities, you can. Just to also tell you guys, I would say the kind of diversity that we have. So these are just two testimonials from two of our learners. And then one of them is also a teacher that's working with us as well. So the diversity is, we also need to think that you have to fit in here, right? Why we're doing this Pakistan focused webinar, it automatically happened like that. But we do want to inculcate that level of understanding and providing everybody a level ground where you could also participate. Anything else, Amber, that you would want to add for next steps? I have a next step, but I'll let you go first on that.
My next step would be that today's session was very informative, and we just discussed about what is the requirement of the teacher from our lens. So I want that we should know from these people, those who are part of this webinar, that what are they think they're missing in their careers, or maybe on which areas they want themselves to be developed on. So what area of CPD they are looking for. So we maybe an earlier teacher is requirement has a different requirement, a TNE teacher has a different requirement. So I want that we should have a webinar or something. I want their feedback, and I want that how can we help them so that they can get that what is missing in their teaching at this moment.
Absolutely. And exactly. So it's very adaptable, and it's something which we can tweak and which we can easily uh, work out for you guys. So whichever hat you're working on, just feel free to reach out. This was just one of actually a series of sessions that we have arranged. And like Shazia said that, we look after the teachers who train with us. Absolutely, we do, because pretty much all of them who have come to us as students have actually gone on ahead to find work opportunities for you as well. There are a couple of next steps that we are going to talk about. Omar, it was shared right here as well, and we're going to share this particular presentation with all of you as well. And you can connect with me, Amber, Shazia on LinkedIn as well, and we can have lots more information come across to you guys. We are planning a meetup in Islamabad on the 19th of August. Amber will share more details as we are closer to that as well.
Yes.
Of teachers who would want to be a part of that particular meetup in looking at, how can you avail these international opportunities? How can you look at ways in which you can figure out the freelancing opportunities as well? So a lot that needs to come in as well. Shazia, if you can share my LinkedIn as well, because I can't do that right now. The place, the timing, the venue, everything is going to come across to you guys shortly. Just feel free to reach out to me with your contact details. We will make a WhatsApp group because we keep doing a lot of these CPD related activities, and you can just reach out to all of us. This was just a glimpse of basically an advocacy awareness around what teaching qualifications are out there for people who are from Pakistan, who are looking for an international career also, and who are also looking at freelance opportunities wherever you are. So we are going to, share all of these learnings as well. All of our LinkedIn's are there in the chat. Uh, Please reach out to me if you haven't. My email is noor@oxfordiancollege.com for your CPD certificates. They'll be sent across to you. Next step is a taster class, an online taster class on the level 3 award in education and training, which we will let you guys know next week when that class is taking place. That's a free first taster class for the level 3 award in education and training that you can feel free to come in and see if you feel comfortable. And if that's something that you have made up your mind around it, this is the right time when it's a summer break and you can take out some time. Urdu language teachers have lots and lots of opportunities, Sahar, as well. You could think about tweaking your Urdu language, particular what we can say hat on, and look at freelance opportunities, because a lot of parents now who are of Asian lineage are looking at, how can their kids remember their language as well. So there's lots and lots of opportunities there as well. Anything else, Amber? A final comment? Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you so much. And it was, I think, we tried to cover all those areas which we discussed. So I think it's more than an hour. And if I don't have anything else, because then there will be another discussion.
Yes. So thank you so much, everybody. All of you that I can see on the chat, that I can remember. Thank you so much for joining in and being such interesting, engaging audience. We would come in ahead with another such webinar and the details for the next taster class. Please reach out to me again for your CPD certificates, and we would love to interact with all of you and find out the best CPD opportunity for all of you. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Well done, it's over.
How was it?